To continue reading my book, In the Spirit of the Earth, we will continue reading, okay? So, as we look carefully at the Neolithic, and it matters not which part of the world one chooses for this exercise, we begin to see that several characteristic themes emerge. One of the more striking is what Lewis Mumford has called the creation of a surplus. A margin is how Frederick Turner puts it. Be it of old world cereal, new world maize, or what have you. The great fact about Neolithic techniques is that its main innovations were not in weapons and tools, but containers, asserts Mumford. A surplus of food called into being or permitted by the technology of the cistern, the subterranean cyst, the ceramic pot, and woven basket. Bins, barns, granaries, houses, and these great collective containers with irrigation, ditches, and villages. Accompanies this novel demographic shift, and one soon witnesses the installation of a ruling elite with potent, precisely powers and obligations. A margin, a population boom, and a priesthood, three developments that throw considerable light on the metaphysics of the Neolithics. A few words about priests. Priests are by definition intermediaries, intercessors who undergo a period of rigorous training in the tenets and rituals of a cult, and only then are anointed practitioners. Instruction is passed along from priest to priest, person to person. Shamans may be thought of as rough equivalents of priests, and here we see a curious phenomenon. Shamans abound in hunter-gatherer societies, while priests, aboriginally at least, are also unheard of. Shamans are in business for themselves. Basically, they are loners with remarkable spiritual transmitters and receivers. They gain their powers from intercourse with spirit familiars, not the study of dogma and the ritual, although they may learn some of their shamanistic techniques or arts, the sucking and blowing and legerdemain of curing, as an understudy to an individual with greater experience. It must be emphasized, however, that among hunter societies, all individuals are expected to acquire and wield spiritual powers unique to themselves, a process that starts with the vision. There are a number of distinctions between priests and shamans, but the really key difference is that priests are devotees of transcendent otherworldly deities. Priests, in fine, meditate between the sky gods and humanity. Sky gods are categorically creations of the Neolithic. They are cosmic beings with a powerful agenda, a plan for mankind and the remainder of creation, in which a chosen people become the agent in carrying out the divine will. Notice the sky gods are conspicuously absent from hunter practice, except where hunters have since been influenced by Neolithic cultures and civilizations. In fact, hunters don't worship gods at all. They don't worship anything, for that matter. They converse with local earth and sea-bound spirit persons without adoring them. They are animists, not theists. The communion that hunters have with animal and plants being is at a rather mundane level of existence and discourse, and they do it themselves rather than assign the task to someone else, such as a priest. A shaman will be engaged only when one's own powers of discernment or facilitation have failed. Thus, a shaman is a last resort and by no means a spiritual locus of the community. Where were we? Yes. Let's get interrupted slightly. We're going to continue in our book. Perhaps I ought to clarify that hunters do detect other sorts of spirit beings besides those of animals and plants. Vague entities associated, say, with particular landforms, such as waterfalls and rapids, or bizarre underwater monsters, giant man-eating creatures of the forest, and so on. One has difficulty knowing how such of this potpourri is original, predating contact with, say, the Christian West, with its assorted horrors, traumas, and outlandish tales. Nonetheless, it seems certain that there have always been supercharged beings in hunters, gatherers' imaginations, beings who, like the potent animal and plants, are capable of inflicting serious misfortune on man and women. One deals with such beings circumspectly, though still on a mundane and very personal level. Whatever their powers, and as dangerous as they may be, they are always of this world. They always inhibit the local geography. They are never transcendent or extruded. The Neolithic witnessed a profound transformation of this geographically local immanent spirituality. It was as though incipient farmers took the spirits of the numerous places, joined them with the spiritual essence and personhood of fauna and flora, and hurled that whole potent assemblage into the heavens as the cosmic zygote, the reverse of the myth of human creation by the god. However, it happened from the dawn of systematic farming until now. Mankind has been afflicted with gods, either one's own or someone else's. Priests, then, are mirrors of deities, and deities in turn mirror time, more accurately, what we might call the errand of time. The 3 P's, skies, God, time errands, constitute a fundamental and novel element of early farming. What we should know, start calling civilization, use the word in the anthropological sense of an urban society feeding itself by agricultural or pastoral means. Pre-sky gods are chosen people on a divinely commissioned errand through time, and often through geographically space as well. A food surplus and runaway population, is that possessed Mesolithic hunter-gatherers to recast their image of themselves, vis nature, into such peculiar freight terms. I am referring to the first farmers, not those hunters infected with someone else's ideas. I said earlier that scholars don't know for certain. We have a clue, however, the production of a food surplus linked to a population explosion, although it is well nigh impossible to determine which came first. Alright guys, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go for a little walk, okay? I'll see you guys later.